Hi there, this is Eshu. I'm the abbot here at Zenwest Buddhist Society. This Living Zen-podcast is just one of the many resources we've created at Zenwest to make Zen practice and training more available and accessible to people all over the world. Instructional videos, printable resources, and much, much more are also available on our website at www.zenwest.ca. If you're a regular listener, I'd love to hear from you. So please drop me an email at office@zenwest.ca and let me know who you are, how you got started, and what brought you to Zen. Everything we make available in person and online at Zenwest is only possible because of the support of our members and associates, people like you. If the efforts of our community are making a difference in your life, I'd like to invite you to show your support and take part in making it happen by becoming an associate or member of the Zenwest Sangha. You can do this by clicking the Join Us tab on our website at www.zenwest.ca. Thank you for your support, and thanks for listening. Please feel free to adjust your posture if you like, or turn this way a little bit, or not, if you'd rather not. The first thing that I wanted to mention today is just a couple of words about kinhin, or walking meditation. The way that we do kinhin in the Rinzai tradition, which is the tradition that we practice here at Zen West, it's a little bit different than in other traditions. Many traditions are really much more inwardly focused, and there's more of an emphasis placed on unifying the activity of in and out breathing with the stepping of the feet. We do that as well in our tradition. It's less common. Usually if it's pouring rain outside, we'll do that inside. And that kind of walking meditation is done very slowly at the rate of a sort of deep and slow breathing. This form that we use here is sort of a moderate speed, and we're walking in step. And as we were walking, one of the things that struck me is a really good way to understand our walking meditation is very much like ballroom dance. I don't know if any of you have done ballroom dance with a partner, right? When we're the jigijitsu in a walking meditation line, one of my good friends, monk, is 6'10", would you believe? And when we're jikijitsu of the line, just like my wife is 5'2", so when I'm dancing with her, I want to take a step back, I can't take an Eshu size step back, right? Or else she's going to have to go just to sort of keep up, right? So likewise, when you're jikijitsu, you're leading the line, you want to sort of take into consideration your partner, or your partners in the case of walking meditation, your 20 partners. So for example, when I'm jikijitsu, I have to take into consideration the smallest person in the room, and I have to adjust my pace, the depth of my step, so that all of my partners can keep in step with me. Likewise, walking meditation for us in the line, it's not a break. It's not the sitting meditation is done and now we're going to get up and move around and I can sort of break. Kinhin is the activity of meditation in action. It's, we want to take this meditation into the world around us, into our relationships and into our jobs and into the world at large. And the way that we initiate that, or we start that, is with this walking meditation. It's a way of practicing being mindful, being aware, and being in harmony with the environment that's around us. It's really simple. It doesn't get more simple than just this activity of walking left, right, left, right. Just like in dancing, we can't think about it too much. It's really not so complex. Left, right, you kind of have to feel it. You have to sort of allow your body to drop down into your hara, into your legs, make a connection with that person in front of you and how they're moving, and dance with them. Do this walking meditation, dance with them, stay connected, and observe how when we get distracted, when we start thinking about something, when we sort of go off away from here in our thoughts, how easy it is to disconnect with what's going on, and how that's immediately fed back to us through just simply falling out of step. Be aware that when we fall out of step, if we've got good dancers behind us, that now they're out of step. Become aware of how our inattentiveness, our lapse in awareness has impacted our environment. This is a lesson, this is a teaching. The impact in the zendo, in the meditation hall, is just that the rest of the there's a disharmonious rhythm going on. In the grand scheme of things, it's not a huge deal, right? Ooh, 2 rhythms. But as a microcosm, we can really observe that just this momentary lapse of our awareness has deep impacts. Maybe in the zendo, it's just 2 rhythms. But in the world out there, this can mean lives. This can mean suffering. This can mean delay. This can mean discomfort and unpleasantness for other people, just because we haven't managed to be with what we're doing when we're doing it. And it's not to sort of become neurotic about it and think, oh, I've got to be there all the time, but to inspire us to make an effort to be present as much as possible. Okay, so today is April 8th, and in Japan, in the tradition that I'm trained in, Hanamatsuri is the Buddha's birthday, and it's the day that we commemorate or celebrate the Buddha's birth. Here in Zenwest, we celebrate it a little bit later, so we're going to have a party early in May. Do you know the date, Doyu?
May
3rd. First Saturday in May, right here. So I won't do too much of a spoiler, but I wanted to talk about it a little bit because this is the traditional day, April 8th. The Buddha, the story goes that the Buddha, when he was born, was able to walk and talk. It's said that he took 7 steps, and he pointed at the sky, and he pointed at the earth, and he said, "Under the heavens and on the earth, I alone am the world honored one." And this would be really straightforward if we were practicing in some kind of theistic tradition, or in some kind of tradition that taught that the Buddha was something other than a human being. But we don't. The Buddha was a human being. And these stories are teaching stories, so we have to look at what's being said, what's being taught, what's being demonstrated in these stories, in these images. In the teaching of the Zen school, it's said that we essentially have 2 activities. We have 2 directions. One, which is often described as the plus activity or the rising activity, the activity of diversification. So the way that this manifests is the paying attention to diversity, noticing the difference between self and other. Noticing the difference between this kind of flower or that kind of flower, this kind of bird or that kind of bird. Understanding the difference between a car and a pillow, and that if you're going to be hit by one, which one you'd prefer. The The other direction, or the other activity, is the activity of dissolution or unification, melting away. Another way of understanding this activity is, or these activities are the activity of birth and the activity of death. For most of our lives, and in our culture and in this world at large, for the most part, our focus, our attention is placed on the activity of plus. Who are you? What is it that you're trying to accomplish? What kind of person are you going to be? What are your likes and dislikes? What is your course of study? What is your job? What is your hair color? What kind of clothes do you like to wear? What kind of music do you listen to? And on and on and on. And even when we talk about sort of doing things as a group, it's kind of an illusion, because we're still focused on how we participate as an individual in a group. The other activity, this activity of minus, this activity of dissolution, is one that we glimpse from time to time in our everyday lives. Perhaps if we like music, when we hear a certain piece of music, or even when we play certain pieces of music, there is this moment where this separation between subject and object, that discriminating faculty can drop away for just a moment. And we're lost. This is how we talk about it. We become lost in the music. There is no me, there is no song, there is no instrument. Just this sound, and I'm completely immersed in it. Maybe when we're riding our bicycle, or we've got a couple surfers here, maybe when we're riding a wave, there is no space for that distance, that difference between myself and the board and the wave. It all has to harmonize and become one, or calamity. When we're holding somebody that we love, when we're laughing, these are all times where the veil between subject and object can drop, but it lasts just a moment, just a few minutes at the absolute longest. We glimpse the realm of the absolute. We glimpse the world of the activity of minus, zero. And it's not that this universe or life is all one way or it's all the other. It's both. And it's not one way and then the other. It's simultaneously both. This differentiating activity and this unifying activity. Awakening. So the word Buddha means the one who is awake. It wasn't like just one person. In our tradition, the teaching is that it is the capacity of all of us to awaken, to become Buddha, to realize our true nature. And our true nature is this simple awakening. We have these glimpses throughout our lives, but it's like a constant layer of clouds when occasionally there is this glimpse of blue sky. And maybe we wonder, what is that blue? What is that clarity? Oh, it's gone again, never mind. Practice, Zen practice, Zazen, the reason that we engage in this practice is because it offers this opportunity for what's traditionally called kensho, or satori. These are just fancy Japanese words that mean seeing the nature or realization And through practice, what happens is that we can have this opening in the clouds. And sometimes that can be a great opening for an extended period of time, an opportunity to see what lies beyond the clouds, the opportunity to deeply immerse ourselves in that experience of unification, one true nature. Or sometimes in practice, it's just a series of opportunities to look at that. Spaces in the world of differentiation. Why is it important? Well, we tend to view the world as if it were made up of distinct, separate things. And even science is telling us, this isn't really the case. We can't say this is where one thing ends and this is where the other thing begins. We're all made up of this stuff that transforms, but it doesn't go anywhere, and it doesn't come from anywhere outside. This is all one intimately interconnected thing. And we can get that information pounded into our head over and over again. But when we look out at the world around us, it's not the way we see it. It's not the way we experience it. I was reading an article about Mike Tyson while I was away. And he had this great quote, and it said, everybody has a plan until they get hit in the mouth. And I thought, this is just so. We can understand that this world is unified. We can understand that this world is intimately interconnected, and we can have a plan, or we can have a perspective which we think includes everything, until we start to suffer, until we experience some concern of our own, whether it's how long is Eshu going to go on because my leg hurts. When that happens, we stop worrying about what Johnny over there in the corner is experiencing or what's going on the other side of the world. There's just this knee. Awakening, realization, kensho, this opening to our nature is an immersive experience into the realm of the absolute, completeness, unification. It's not a glimpse anymore. It's not a whiff. But it's like completely breaking through the ice and being immersed in the icy lake below. When we come up, which we do, when we have those kinds of experiences, we can't stay there. We come back to the world of subject and object. But because it's not just a glimpse, because it's not just a concept, because it's not just an idea, it's an experience, an immersive experience. We're transformed. Our worldview changes from being this and that, to being much more spherical, being a view that includes both this subjective realm and this absolute realm simultaneously. And we continue to practice. We continue to have these two sides, the self that is concerned about the self that is concerned about me and you, having what we need, and as Genjo says, and a little bit more. But also, there is this other side of us, this other view, this other lens that we can see our life and our experiences through, which catches a much bigger picture. And when we're talking about Buddhism, this is the view of the Buddha mind, the Dharma eye, we call it, right? Our awakened nature, the sage beyond its years, or as I like to say, the wizard. And Each of us, as we go through our lives, will be faced with different situations. And there's lots of things that we'll do to benefit ourselves. Even practice itself is something that most, if not all of us, come to essentially from a selfish place. Really. I want to be calmer. I want to have less stress. I want to sleep better, have lower blood pressure, be happier. But practice takes us away from that differentiating sort of mindset and gives us this view of a much bigger world. A world that is far beyond myself, which is far beyond selves at all. It gives us this Dharma eye, this global perspective, this universal, unified experience. Awakening. The importance of the story of the Buddha's birth is not the Indian man, the born in 560 around BC. Did he walk 7 steps and did he point to the sky and point to the earth? I doubt it. Wonder of wonders, under the heavens and on the earth, I alone am the world-honored one. It's not the Buddha's awakening that we need to be concerned with, but our own. It's not April 8th or May 3rd that we need to be concerned with, but this moment, this day. We can walk around in a cloud for our whole lives, entirely focused on the subjective discriminations of our egoistic mind. Mine. How can I get more and bigger and better? But if we do that, according to the teachings of the Zen school, we're living a half-life. Mumon says, like a ghost clinging to bushes and weeds. Just the grasses. Just getting half of it. Or we can dig into this experience. We can dig in so that just like we have the experience while we're doing something that we truly enjoy, like listening to music or riding our bike or dancing or laughing or making art, we have this experience of both the subjective dissolving into the absolute, arising again into the subjective and back and forth. We can have this in our walking. We can have this in our standing, in our sitting, in our washing the dishes, in our cleaning up our houses, in our doing our work. This constant awareness of these two activities, because it's not that we make them. We're not making these two activities happen. This is the natural breathing of the cosmos. This is the natural activity of this universe of which we are a part. And all we need to do is become aware of it. All we're doing in this practice is not catching something that wasn't there. We're not adding something that we didn't have. We're just waking up to what's already happening right in front of us all the time. Waking up. When we do this activity of awakening, how we interact with the world, with people, with objects, with circumstances is changed forever. Because although we can say, you are not me and I am not you and that's your car and it's not my car, there is another side which says we are one. This is not my air just because I'm breathing it. This is not my water just because I'm drinking it. This is not my planet just because I happen to live here. we are one. This stops being some kind of platitude, but a very deeply felt reality. And our practice becomes, how do I more and more clearly manifest this? Okay, I've been talking for a long time. I've been away, so you'll have to forgive me. Thank you. Thanks for listening to the Living Zen podcast. If you follow Living Zen through iTunes, I would very much appreciate it if you would take a moment to let me know what you think about it by rating or reviewing the podcast, so that new listeners can also hear what you have to say. Thank you for your time and for your support.